If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is clearly
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. Momentum is
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is clearly
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. Momentum is
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink. A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is clearly
Time is coming.
at a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. Momentum is
Right?
already here.
If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say.
Trying to free your mind, it is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us had to be brought to the brink.
There we go.
A lot of us here have a calling
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
At a
Train
tipping
can't be stopped. Momentum is
Right?
already here.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to the True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. A little bit of an earlier show today. And we have Jamie from Intros Incarcerated. I hope I got that right. And I see you, brother. I see you on screen. Hey, good. And we're just going to be talking about along the lines of the prison industrial complex. I think he has the special the expertise on that. He also has a podcast that's aimed towards that. And just going to be a lot of I'm just kind of pretty much going to give him the floor on what's going on in that section of our world that's not given a whole lot of it's not really given a whole lot of light in a dark place. But Jamie, thank you for tuning in. I know this is I know it was kind of crazy to with the back and forth between us and getting each other on here, and I appreciate you for coming on. I know there's been, on my end, just a lot going on, and I know we communicated before, and I had just happened to come across the messages, and I remember, I think we have a mutual friend, Brianna,
Yep.
that connected us at the time. So I'm glad that we're able to get this, and spend some time and talk about this. But for anyone that doesn't know you, if you just want to, give some background about yourself and some social media or some links that people should go to and all that stuff, just to give a background of yourself and on what we're going to be talking about.
Sure. So, my name is Jamie Folk. I have spent, I don't know, I probably the past almost 20 years working in this space as a volunteer at times. I volunteered in prisons around Massachusetts for 5 years, beginning in like 2008, 2009, around there, until I was eventually, I don't want to say thrown out, but they definitely did not like what I was saying to the guys inside. I was not inciting like any kind of violence or anything. I was just saying that, any violence that was, I worked for what's called AVP, Alternatives to Violence Project. That goes on in Massachusetts prisons. It's a volunteer run program. It's actually a prisoner or inmate run program that we as volunteers go into the jails and help facilitate. And it's just what it sounds like. We set up scenarios. We talk about situations that people see in prison and outside of prison, and come up with alternatives to using violence to resolve those issues. It was, things that are helpful in my life. I think all of us could use some of those lessons that we taught in those classes. And then from there, I have my background is in what I do for a job is I work in biotech. I work in quality assurance. And that is, going into labs and other spaces and auditing them and ensuring that people are adhering to the standards required by the government. And around 2012, my wife sent me a story in the news about a chemist named Annie Dukin who was arrested from the state police drug lab.
Mm-hmm.
And in that lab, she was, up to no good. The state claimed that she was just kind of rushing through testing drug evidence for people going to trial. And from my background in quality assurance, I knew right away that the state was trying to make it sound like it was just her that was up to no good. But whenever I knew from my background that whenever someone does something nefarious in a lab, people always know about it. because and they're afraid to speak up because of culture or whatever. But like this was a small lab. There's no way people didn't know about it. So I'm like, well, why would the state be saying that? So I read the police report, and the police report was full of chemists from that lab saying, yeah, we reported this to our management for years, and they didn't do anything about it. And so what she was doing was she was not actually testing the drug evidence that was coming through the lab. She was just marking it all as positive for drugs.
Oh wow!
And what ended up happening was, and so
So falsifying evidence for
yeah, well, not even bothering to test it. She just said guilty, 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 guilty. And so I'm like, why the f would she be saying guilt? Like, what is it to her if someone's guilty or innocent? Like, why does she have such a stake in the game? Because everyone was guilty. It wasn't the other way around.
right.
And so I began submitting FOIAs, Freedom of Information requests to the Department of Public Health. And that's where she worked. And they gave me, the first thing that they gave me was, I asked, my request was very specific. It was, give me emails that make it look like Annie Dukin is favoring prosecutors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing they gave me was an email from after she got fired about her being in love with a prosecutor, like,
Whoa.
and having a bunch
like
of
like a romantic relationship.
romantically obsessed with a DA from Norfolk County.
Whoa.
And it came out, it like that has been kind of totally squashed by the state. He got fired too because it turns out he was leveraging. He knew that she liked him. It was obvious, and
Right.
And he was leveraging that to get what he wanted from her, which was conviction, conviction, conviction. He wanted to go to the FBI. Like I have all these, and so I got all these crazy emails that told me all that. Like they flat out said it. She didn't say I'm rigging evidence, but she did say, I want people to go to jail. She said that.
Mm-hmm.
She said I want to take them off the streets. I want to.
So,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, these guys that are in there, it's mostly men that you were dealing with, yes, or
correct. In jail, I also volunteered at Framingham, at the women's prison as well.
At the women's prison. Okay, good. With this particular person that's going, what's her? Can you mention her name? Is
who? Annie Dukin was the chemist.
Okay. Is she still currently a forensic person there?
She got fired and sent to jail.
She got fired and sent to jail for that, right?
For that, but it was only like I think she got a 3 to 5.
Yeah,
but she was out in like 2.5.
Right.
And they interviewed her afterwards too.
Okay, and these guys that are in prison, what are they like? What were they incarcerated for prior to her being removed or fired, and also incarcerated for what she was doing?
Are you talking about the people who were whose evidence she tested?
Yeah. So the people. Well, yeah. So the people that were doing evidence tests, like, what were they in there for?
So they were in there for, like drug trafficking, all kinds of different things. But one guy, and the guy, so I host a podcast called Rigged, right? I guess I'm burying the lead there. But the name of my podcast is called Rigged.
Rigged. Okay.
Rigged, RIGGED, the Massachusetts Drug Lab Scandal. That's the name of my podcast. And I host it with a couple of lawyers who've been working on these cases for years. And one of the lawyers represented a guy whose evidence Annie Dukin supposedly tested and was actually factually innocent because the drugs that she tested weren't drugs at all. It was a chopped up cashew. And he went to jail for 3 years.
It was a chopped up cash, like a...
Yeah, a nut.
And he went to jail for that?
Yes.
Why?
For 3 years.
I mean, how is that possible?
Because she didn't test the evidence. She said it was... She didn't test the evidence and said it was crack.
Wow.
And went on the stand and said, this is crack cocaine. Imagine being that guy. Sitting in the freaking courtroom, and she she lied. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. No, when this individual is getting whatever apprehended or questioned by police, I imagine he was arrested by police, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So Did they suspect that he had drugs on him, and then they found a like a baggie of cashew nuts or whatever, and they said, "Hey, this looks like crack cocaine." They didn't test it on site because I thought they usually have the test
They
kits
did
on
a
site.
narc swipe and it came up negative and they destroyed it.
You're kidding me.
No.
Wow.
This is why my show is called Rigged. This is the reality. This is the reality. It is not about testing. It's not about fairness. It's about locking people in jail. And we know exactly the people that we're talking about locking them in jail.
For cashews.
Yes, for cashews. And other things. This has been
right.
It's like this isn't the only that wasn't the only factually innocent person that didn't have actual drugs that went to jail for years for drugs in our system.
Wow.
And so far, this is all under the radar. No one's ever heard of it. So far, they've dismissed 30,000 cases
for something along those lines of falsified. I mean, whatever.
Yes, well, because they can't prove what she did and didn't do.
Oh, 30,000 of her cases.
Correct.
She put 30,000 people away for
yes,
falsified evidence.
More all time, it's over 100,000, and that's the bare minimum. Like the whole lab was doing crap like this. It wasn't just her. The state blamed her because she was the most obvious and blatant one.
Yeah.
But the whole fucking lab. Can I swear here?
You're good. Yeah. It's free speech, but
the whole lab was doing this shit, and they had no standards. The state didn't audit them. No one audited them. They had no way of like testing. You're supposed to have written down methods to say, okay, if I do this, this, and this, then this equals my test method, right? You just have to follow basically a recipe. It's like cooking,
right?
They didn't have any of that. It was all just like, oh well, this guy used to do this. This guy used to do this. It was like the biggest jabroni operation. And they go into court dressed to the nines, these chemists, and say, I have my chemist degree, or I have my, degree in microbiology or in chemistry from, UMass or one of these colleges around here. And they don't, and like people are so bored by science, they don't give a shit, and they don't ever really kind of go and look at what these people were actually doing. Annie Dukin lied for years and said that she had a master's degree that she never earned. No one even checked it. No defense lawyer, no nothing.
So she didn't even have any. No. She didn't have any specific qualifications that would make her appropriate for that position in order to do evidence testing like that. She didn't have any of those credentials, or
she did. She did have credentials. She had baseline credentials, but she lied and said that she had a master's degree to make it seem like she was more of an authority than she actually was.
Got it.
So why would you do that?
Right. Yeah. So, what did she ever like say? She just because I think you touched on it a little bit, but did she ever like explain why she would do that? Why she was doing that? Was there any motivation behind? Is it money? Is it?
So this you bring up a great point. No one really cares or is asked about this because they are so focused on what she did rather than why she did it, and why she did it is incredibly important.
Yes.
To answer your question, she has not said, or she did not say why she did it. She just said she wanted to get things done, right? Because they were overwhelmed with work. They didn't hire an appropriate amount of staff to do the amount of drug testing that was required in the lab. So they always had a backlog of cases to test. And each backlog of case was people, if they couldn't afford bail, that was someone sitting in jail waiting for their case to be tested. So they had like 20,000 cases in their backlog, and she would go in and just because the test took so long, she would go in and fudge the test to just say she did it to help clear out the backlog. But that wasn't the only reason. She thought the people were scumbags, and she was doing what was right because she was being told by the DAs, these people are scumbags, these people are pieces of shit. You need to send them away. I have all those emails. They were saying that to her. And she agreed.
What a fucking disgusting human being.
She thought she was a hero. Think about it, though. Put yourself in her shoes, right? You're a chemist. You work at this job. You're being told by state authorities. You have no background in like criminology or any of this stuff. You're just a chemist. So you're being told by people in authority, aka the DAs, in some case federal DAs, that these people are a danger to society, right? So you run the test and it comes back negative. What are you going to do? Are you going to let someone out that the DAs are telling you is a danger to society?
Okay.
That's the thing. See, and
So
that is the moral problem.
that is the moral problem right there, because man.
They shouldn't be told jack shit about any of the people they're doing the testing for. If this was
Yeah, because they have nothing to do with it. They just have
exactly
then
they're
they
just
have
running the tests.
then they
That's
go
it.
in there with a bias.
Exactly. That corrupts science. When you go in there with a motive, any kind of motive, and I see it in the for-profit sector. If the tests I'm running in a scientific lab,
Yeah.
is a matter of not life and death, but is a matter of like the company surviving or not. Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Right.
You see it all the time. Like you'll do everything you can to try to make that test pass, and that
Right.
was so. Every chemist. That's why I said it was every chemist, because every chemist in the lab would retest and retest and retest
To
until
make sure that they had positive or whatever
100%.
or negative.
The overall positive results from that lab, from everyone in there, was 96% positive off of drugs coming off the streets.
Got it. And from her from her end, but well, whatever, the lab that she was working out of, it was a 96% positive rate.
Yeah, that was the William S. Hinton lab,
and that would be, I mean, that's probably likely deemed a little bit unusual.
That's insane. I would say
it's
that's
an insane.
like,
It's an insane amount,
dude.
right?
96% for street drugs.
Right. For street drugs, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, so just so I can understand, and maybe the audience could understand too, is that you're coming from a position you're not particularly worried about. Well, I wouldn't say worried. I don't want to put. You are coming from an evidence-based position, like whether the person did whatever they did, if they didn't test positive for that drug, then they shouldn't be held accountable for testing positive for that drug if it is indeed negative, per se. Say for the guy that got caught for having cashews in his pocket.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. Yeah,
no,
depending
you can't send
on
someone to jail for cashews. Just, I mean, so there's you
right.
can send them for like 6 months, I think, for falsifying, because he was trying to. So what happened there is they knew he was a guy that the cops knew was a drug addict.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd follow him around and they'd tail him.
Mm-hmm.
But what he was doing was selling drugs to feed his habit. So like the whole case screams as to why the drug war is moronic.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to switch to sending addicts to jail sending addicts to rehab rather than jail.
Right. Yes, I agree with that.
And
I do agree with that.
And so that's my whole mission with this, is to end the drug war in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't work. It doesn't stop drugs from coming in. It doesn't help. All it does is funnel money to the police's pocket and create situations like this. You don't want to know.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Dude, they've spent like over $100 million just in the lawsuits, in all the criminal cases. This happened in 2012. This came out in 2012. She worked there from 2003 to 2012.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still going on. There's still cases. They're trying to dismiss every single case. Over 300,000 cases are on the table right now to be dismissed.
And these people that they're trying to find cases to be dismissed, are they still doing prison time for those accusations?
Some of them are. Yeah, some of
Wow.
them could be. I mean, some of these sentences are absolutely bonkers. You know how, like, I mean, Clinton and the crime bill.
Yeah.
All of that shit.
Mm.
Like, it's drugs. It's been like that all growing up for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
You see the commercials, you do all this stuff, and I get it. Drugs are terrible.
Marijuana rots your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
On that one, I remember that one.
Corrupting our criminal justice system to the point where it's a complete and utter joke.
Right.
Or, sending people who have a problem to rehab, because that's what it is. It's a problem. It's not like it is a choice. It is, but there's socioeconomic issues. There's a bunch of different issues that go into it, and you got to look at it from a nuanced perspective.
Yeah.
But that's not at all what this is about. Like I've been doing deep dives into the origin of the drug war, where it came from, why it is the way it is, and it really ties into like what we're seeing in society. It's a big part of it.
Mm. No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I kind of had firsthand experience with that. Not me personally being uh involved with drugs per se, but like seeing friends growing up or whatever, and getting involved in it. I've seen it around. I may have dabbled in back in the day when I was a very much younger man. You know what I'm saying, and involved in stuff like that. But like as far as like seeing close friends or people that I know over time, they would devolve into either really getting involved in selling this stuff, or actually more so getting involved in like it taking over their lives and just like completely ruining their lives over time.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it definitely is a problem. And what another thing though is that a lot of that always had to do with coming off of like pharmaceutical drugs,
Oh yeah.
and then they would go out to the street to kind of find that for what opiates for
Yeah.
is like a
Well,
like a
when their
prominent.
original pusher, aka the doctor,
Mm.
dries up, then they
Mhm.
have to go to Plan B. And
Yeah.
you know this. And so, did you know that there's labs out there that actually produce cocaine, heroin,
Yeah.
like pharmaceutical grade? Like that
Mhm.
is made by the state. So they use it for in drug testing. Some of the stuff that we're talking about, that's how you're supposed to test the drug. You have to test the known substance
Yep.
against, whatever you get from the street to make sure that it's cocaine. And these labs didn't even do that. They didn't buy the standards from other places. But to your point about the opiates that people get prescribed, that fuels this 100%. We like as a society, we say no, no, no to drugs, and
Yeah.
then we give people like basically, what accounts to like close to heroin and whatnot to get over pain and all these different things that's important, but it sets a precedent. It gets people who are addictive, have addictive personalities. It puts that into it. I've seen it, like people that work construction. It's terrible. I've had
Oh yeah.
multiple people that have worked construction that have had problems because there's people with back problems,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you go to the doctor, they give you drugs, and then they don't give you them anymore when keep saying you need them over the
Mhm.
prescribed amount, and they turn to other sources, and like that. I have had multiple friends OD and die,
Oh yeah. Yep.
and that's part of what fuels my what I'm doing here. The societal unjust is the main driver for me, just because like I view this, and this might be, like wacky, but I view this as an extension of slavery. I don't think slavery ever went away. I
I
think it,
agree.
I think it changed.
It just sophisticated itself.
Dude, it freaking adapted. That's
Mhm.
all it did. They right after the 13th Amendment, they're like, cool. People left the black folks left the plantations and were picked up on the streets and sent back to plantations for like loitering and shit.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
started there, then it turned into Jim Crow, and when Jim Crow ended in the 60s, the drug war began.
Mm.
It's a
Mm.
straight line.
Mhm. Yeah, and a lot of people are in there for like victimless crimes,
Right.
like nonviolent crimes.
Right.
Like
And what does the 13th Amendment say about jail? It says like slavery has ended in the United States
Mhm.
unless as punishment for a crime. It says it in the freaking amendment.
Mm.
This is slavery.
It is.
And we allow it, and we have the largest prison population of any civilized country in the world. We are number one. There's more black people in jail and on probation than there were slaves in 1850. And we are just asleep at the wheel.
Mhm. Mhm. There's a lot of cases that are in there also. I mean, yeah, jumping from people who are getting falsified evidence, and as far as drugs and stuff, there's people that are in there that it's just a falsified case.
Yeah.
Uh,
You see the Karen Reed, like that
mm,
all the wine moms woke up with that one. because it's like that hit home. She's, she looks like a regular mom, or a middle-aged woman,
Yep.
and they saw how she got railroaded.
Yep.
And
I
that
was
and people are like, but that's been happening like outside of drugs. That happens all the time. It's a big confidence scheme.
right. Shout outs to Kova. Thank you for tuning in. She just said she's agreeing. Yes, lost my closest friend who lived with sickle cell. Long story short, the pain grew, and so did his tolerance and want for that release and ease. Yeah, that's what drugs
Sucks.
does, man.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, my cousin, unfortunately, that's what took him. Eventually, he was the thing is like sometimes like people snap out of it, right?
Right.
They snap out of it, and then I don't know. It's like there's just that monkey on their back, and it just that's it. You know what I mean? And
Exactly. I mean, my cousin too, but my cousin was alcohol and not drugs.
yeah,
But still,
yeah.
it's that addictive personality, and like you said, some people, like, usually, so what AA is just, you give yourself over to God. That's the
Mm,
long and short of it.
hmm
That is what they do. And the 12-step program is about accountability and things like that, so you're no longer in denial about your actions and how they've impacted people in your lives, right? Because it's, it has to do with selfishness and other things, not seeing, like, being extremely wrapped up in your own world and your own problems. But there's more to it than that. It's genetic. It's chemistry, how your brain is designed. Like, there's a lot of stuff that goes into addiction. But
Yeah,
what doesn't help is locking people in a cage.
right. So that's and real quick, shot Kova. Thank you. I love you, sis. And also, we got to get you on here too. So make sure you we got to talk to each other because I got to get you on here too. But what I wanted to ask you too, Jamie, to go into that is do you think so? Because there are legitimate cases why people are in prison.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And I know for a fact that there's an onion layer to the road of why someone actually ends up in there. And I'm not giving people excuses, but I'm also trying to look at things from a viewpoint that I always see, or you always hear the phrase hurt people, right?
Yeah.
So granted, with that being said, there are legitimate cases of why people end up in the prison system. If we are to say that the prison system is supposed to be there in order to, because it is called a rehabilitation,
Right.
and we don't see
That's
that.
how they sell it.
Yes, that's how they sell it, but we don't even see that. You got
No.
a lot of guys, a lot of women that come out and
That's not what it's about in prison. I have 5
right.
years experience volunteering in there. It's about sticking your face in the mud.
Yeah. And
Um,
and a lot of people that go in there, they're already down and out, and they're already getting kicked. They're already getting kicked down. Some of them do, they turn
Absolutely.
they
It
turn their
helps
own
some.
lives around. But go ahead. I mean,
it helps some. You're right.
right. It like wakes them up. I mean, they
Yep.
find God in a lot of ways, but a lot of them don't. They just, I think they just feel like the world's beat them up before they got in there, and if it's going to beat them up anymore, then why turn around? Just become the monster that's within. And I don't believe inherently people are born to be monsters. I just think that they're created in a way because society just kind of, whether it be family life, what it's. I mean, I know it comes from a lot of trauma, a lot of those onion layers of trauma. I mean, but from your position on seeing this, from your experience, do you like what is your position on a lot of things where some people go in there with extreme violent crimes versus someone that is in there for like what I guess the question that I'm asking is if someone's going in there for an extreme violent crime, say they just decided to kill a bunch of people because over money or just senselessly or whatever. And I know that's a little bit more rare to just do it senselessly. I know we see it a lot in the news, but it's a little bit more rare for someone to just do that. There has to be some type of motivation. Most people, from most of the stuff that I've read over time, and even rarer cases, it's serial killers.
Yep.
Even though they do exist and they have existed throughout history.
Yep.
And there's many out there currently. But from your perspective or your experience by being around these people, I mean, they are people.
Yep.
Is what quantifies someone to be in prison, and how long does a person have to be in prison for the crimes that they've committed? Because
So
I know
what's like the justification?
Yeah.
So in
Right.
from my perspective, prison is kind of an excuse. It's the hole where we throw society's problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of problems stem from untreated mental illness. This is my opinion.
I agree.
And what is the best way to treat mental illness is the question.
Right.
And also, but like some other people aren't mentally ill, but they live. It's about being born with certain characteristics. It's that age old debate. You're born with like the way your brain functions, or does your brain function that way because of how you grew up? And I think if we invested some of this money that we're spending on trying to lock people in jail for drugs on mentors, on family environments, and on creating family environments for children and opportunities for low income folks, a lot of these problems would disappear, but not all of them. I think there are mentally ill people that no matter what the hell you do, they're going to want to create havoc and destruction. And
Right.
some of them are motivated to not do that because they don't want to go to jail.
Right.
And so that jail is a deterrent in that way. And I, agree, and I accept that that's reality.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there are other ways to go about it, and it doesn't have to be jail. Jail is our little. It's there because we like revenge, and we think, and we have confused revenge with justice. And justice to me is healing. Healing people, healing a wrong that has been committed, and giving the person that has been wronged, they should have a big say as to what justice is, and some of the times they're going to say like kill the guy or do whatever, and some of the times they're going to say like whatever, but they should have a say in all of it. There are programs that exist called restorative justice programs that do that, where the police will sit down with the perpetrator and the victim, if the victim is open to it, and say, what do we do? I mean, don't you think, like, so someone commits a crime, someone steals something from someone, I think the person that gets something stolen from them would say, hey, give me that back. And
Right.
I don't care if you go to jail. I don't want you doing it again, but like work this back. Like give me this whatever you stole from me back. And sometimes that's not possible, but at the same time, it's like you want to kind of heal the gap.
Right.
And this is like my long-winded answer to your question. Like jail is there as punishment, and there is some rehab to it, but it's not much. It's to keep society's problems in a place that is controlled by the government.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when the government lies, and what happens when their motives are things other than keeping society safe?
Right.
It's enriching themselves, right? Because don't think that the money, like when you follow the money, you follow the money, you follow the money. I love. Have you ever seen All the President's Men?
I
read the book.
Maybe.
I'm
gonna say
about
no.
Woodward and Bernstein.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I have. A long time ago, but I
Yeah.
have.
So it's a great one to watch for everyone out there, because every single one of these things you always have to, like with human nature, you got to follow the money. And
100%.
there are tons of grants, millions of dollars in grants to fund the drug war that come down federally.
Yep.
And that was brought up a lot in these Annie Dukin papers and things. They talked about the federal grants that were at risk if the lab.
I mean, it pretty much began like Prohibition years. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, go ahead. What did you say?
No, I said it pretty much began right around Prohibition years.
The
This is
drug war?
this is pre-Reagan.
It started in trickle, but in earnest, it was Richard Nixon
Yeah.
that kicked it
That's
off.
what I was gonna say. It was
And
like
dude,
pre-Nixon. Yeah.
Pre-Nixon, it like started, right?
Yeah.
But then when Nixon came in, he formalized it. And you know why he did it?
Mhm.
Ehrlichman, one of his right hand like henchmen, said that they did it to attack the Democrats. Because who is going to jail? People that traditionally vote Democratic, hippies that
Uh-huh.
do drugs,
Yep.
and black people that they both vote Democrat. And
Yep.
look at how the right wing shift that we've seen in society since the drug war started.
Right.
And what happens when you get arrested and sent to jail? You can't vote anymore.
That's a good point. That's I'm not laughing because it's
true.
it's a sick point. Yeah. You're
Dude,
right. You do, that is very interesting. Why what's the point of you losing your rights from being incarcerated? I actually
extra
never understood
punishment.
that. I actually never understood that part.
No, it's come on. They're telling us what they're doing.
Yeah.
This is how we got a guy like we have in the White House currently, and what we've seen all of my lifetime from I was born in '76, so it's Reagan, Bush 1, Bush 2, and Trump. Like all of it's gotten worse and worse and worse with each one of them.
Do you think though on the left and right spectrum though, like there's both corruption on both sides?
Yeah.
Like, it's both sides of the same coin? Okay.
Clinton, dude, and see that's the thing. The Democrats have corrupted themselves because they've seen that being this anti-drug is a huge political windfall. So Hillary and Bill came up with that genius crime bill, and they were like calling people super predators. Who do you think they were talking about?
Right. Yeah. I mean, specifically, they were talking about black people and
exactly, dude.
Brown people.
That's
who they were
They're
specifically
both
talking about.
They both suck. Like there's no one like the JFKs and all that. That is all gone.
Yeah.
And even he wasn't that great, but
we will not. I don't think we'll ever see a JFK type president.
Dude, never say never.
I know.
It goes like this. It goes. Up and down, and we're at what I hope is a very low ebb, where usually from this place, when you get through it and hopefully survive it, that's when change has to occur.
I agree.
You have to kind of shatter it.
I actually thought that Obama was going to be that. But
yeah, no,
I kind of got duped on that. You know what I'm saying?
We all did. Because we play. We all play that stupid race game. We're like, well, he's black. He's gotta see it. But dude, self-interest is king.
Yeah.
Self-interest.
Yeah. When he first ran, I was like, wow, we're actually, America's actually really turning around. It's like, okay, we actually maybe we have a chance to see a JFK version of our lifetime. And
I think we still do. I'm very optimistic.
I pray so. I pray that we do, but there's so many other moving parts now than ever.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but yeah, you're right. Never say never. I agree with that.
Never say never, but it would take. See, the real problem is people just are apathetic and uneducated. They don't. No one reads.
And they take 30-second clips, or they take a little bit of a meme, and then they kind of run off with it. And I'm like, dude, you got to look at the context of everything. Context does matter, ladies and gentlemen. Context matters.
It's everything. It's everything.
It is everything. And follow the money.
Spoon-fed this shit.
Follow the money.
Like I tell my audience all the time, delete your Facebook and turn off the fucking cable news. Like go.
The news is not going to tell
Audible.
What's going on?
Do those two things and subscribe to Audible and just start listening to books, and you will become way.
That's actually really good advice. That's like super good advice to just find favorite books, find really good books to read or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Whatever
you're passionate about.
Books
reading about things that you're passionate about is 10 times better than scrolling through reels on TikTok, Instagram. And I do it too. Like, I'm not fucking morally superior. I do that shit. It's hilarious. I send people, stuff all the time.
Right.
It's because it's fun. It's fun. And we can have fun, obviously. But dude, not at the, you do not sacrifice that at the altar of your own education, because we are ultimately responsible for, educating ourselves. It's not up to schools, it's not up to whatever. Like, you should definitely go to
Mm,
schools and learn and
mm,
be open-minded, but ultimately, like, they have an agenda, everyone's got an agenda. What's important to you, read about what's important to you, and be skeptical of everything. Like,
right.
what are people's motives? But like, there's certain truths that run through, and you'll find them by reading. If you read from separate sources, if you read from different things, you'll find it.
Right, right. No, yeah, 100%. And you'll get, I mean, from me, I mean, this was years ago, but like I'm heading in the 40s actually now.
Yep.
But when I was coming from out of high school, like I was already kind of a step ahead of knowing things about like American history and stuff, and how it was told to us then isn't exactly of how we've known it. So there's a lot of there's a lot of moving parts in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially around the grounds of slavery, colonialism, and all that stuff. We don't have to dive too deep into that. But what I'm saying is, like, when you start looking, especially Abraham Lincoln, there's a lot more of a deeper onion layer to Abraham Lincoln that people don't really know about.
Oh
And
yeah, all his racist shit. he,
he was motivated. I mean, look, he was pressured on. He was basically pressured on for him to do. I'm not saying that what he did is bad. I'm saying that he was
oh,
pressured to do it.
yeah.
So
But
the
dude, it was how society was. You have to put it in the, like we said, context is everything.
right,
What were the other people saying? Like,
correct,
he could not have been a successful politician or done anything unless he, said certain things or did certain things. I'm not excusing it,
right.
but that is what you have to be pragmatic. You
Right.
can't, you have to have context, and you can't be hyper judgmental when you read things that are upsetting. You have to
Mm.
understand the context with which within they were said.
Yes, 100%.
And Lincoln is a huge example of that. Civil War is a huge example of that.
Mm-hmm.
They still we still argue about the cause of it today, and it was like, you cannot find a single article of Confederation within any of the Confederate states that does not mention slavery. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot,
Right.
because that was what it was about: states'
Mhm.
rights to own slaves.
Yeah. I mean,
And fear.
yeah,
I mean,
because it was
really, it was fear, because Lincoln wasn't going to take away slavery. He was just going to limit where it could expand to hopefully it would die out. And they knew he was doing it, so they panicked.
right. And I mean, because they were all pretty much operating from a business aspect.
Yeah,
Like
greed,
like it or
self,
not, slavery was a business. It was a
1000%.
business. It was a business model, unfortunately. But
It was the dark side of
mhm.
human greed, which is,
Yeah,
we
100%.
see it all the time. That is, like, people say greed is good because it motivates people to, do things. Greed is fucking terrible.
I agree because it becomes because like
It's all consuming.
I don't know how deep you dive into the Bible, but greed's part of one of the seven deadly sins. So I
It
mean,
is,
that's just one of those things. Like
for a
man
reason,
and
and you can't
power,
get out of it.
man.
You go down that rabbit hole,
Mhm.
and it's selfishness.
Yeah,
It's selfishness, and that's what slavery was. That's what, like, all these things. That's what we're talking about: selfishness
mhm.
and fear.
Correct.
And those have been the main drivers for all of the catastrophes throughout history.
Absolutely. I wanted to go back to what you were saying about when like so like restoring someone back to like mentoring someone back. Let's say if they did like like I don't know. What's actually let me ask you this. What's the what's the most heinous crime or heinous case or whatever the most serious case that you've dealt with in the prison system?
Well, murderers. Obviously,
Okay.
there's murderers there.
Right.
Bank robbers, people that killed people, robbing a bank,
Sure. Mm.
shit like that.
When you and you've talked and have you had the ability to actually speak with these guys
Oh
and
yeah, I
okay,
did workshops with them all weekend. Like,
you've had
the
conversations
way
and
the
like
AVP class works
yeah.
is, people. First of all, we don't know what anyone's done. They some of them share what they did within the
Mhm.
weekend. But you
Right.
you go in, you introduce each other, and then you do what's called a concentric circle, where
Okay.
you go around and, like, you talk about a subject for 2 minutes, generally about your life.
Mhm.
You talk straight, and the person that's with you partner up with one person, and the person that's with you has to listen for 2 minutes, and the other person has to talk for 2 minutes. And trust me, that is fucking challenging for people. Holy shit.
Yeah, I bet.
But
What,
within
the
that,
listening part is challenging, or the speaking part? Well,
the
probably
listening
both,
part,
right?
it depends
Yeah,
on the people, but generally the listening part, it's listening to people is something that is not generally done.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
so
that's yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, yeah, that's a good point. A lot of times when you want to be heard, you're not exactly always listened to,
Correct.
especially in a serious environment like that, when you're probably emptying some type of, trauma load, or an experience that you've done or has been done to you. You're not exactly heard all the time from people who aren't, who, just, yeah, we don't, on average, I think a lot of people just don't genuinely listen to what's being said, because they're looking for things that's going to trigger and offend or whatever, and immediately they want to make an answer to whatever you're saying, rather than sometimes you don't have to say anything back at all. Sometimes just listen,
Yeah.
and you don't have to say anything back. But so what
Well,
so
let's face
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
People are waiting for their chance to speak.
Mm,
They're jumping out of their shoes the minute they hear something that's like similar to their life. They want to say, "Hey, that happened to me too," or "Hey, like." That's generally how conversation works in society. I've seen,
mhm,
and to sit there and generally listen and to really listen to what someone's saying, it's underrated, and it's stuff that doesn't happen that often. And so to answer your question from before, that's how I found, like, people would say I robbed the bank and people got killed. I got pissed off and killed my friend. I did this. I did, those were the worst offenders that we had there.
mm. And the the restorative part, like, what's the process of them did they come to terms with what they've done, and what's the restorative process that they're experiencing, in order to get themselves to a point of, like, okay, I accept, they accept what they did. How do they reimagine themselves to be from the person that they once were, and then like, how are they finding, like, a restorative person to themselves, you know what I'm saying, like
Being
what,
selfless,
okay.
I think, like,
Mhm.
that's always the best way, is to
Yeah,
try to put others' needs ahead
before them.
of your own. At times you can't do it always, or you lose your own self identity.
Mhm.
But helping others,
Mm,
you cannot take away what you've done, but
yeah,
you can make sure that it doesn't continue.
right.
And not just from you, from other people too. You can see it happening with other people, and you can stop it there too.
Mm,
And you do what you can. That is the best way.
yeah. Do some of these guys end up being like, like, do they go to other centers? Are
Yeah.
they allowed to go to other centers and, like, talk to people, and
Yeah. These
yeah?
groups are everywhere. AVP is everywhere. Within the penal system. But there's also other programs. There's Toastmasters. There's a bunch of
Mm,
other things that people do in prison to kind of build confidence, build community as much as possible, and try to heal from what they've done, forgive themselves, but also, like, want to help and be a better person.
right. And has there been, when they're doing this, do the victims of the family know that this process is happening? Are they supportive of it, or, like, is there any? Do you ever get any, like, pushback on this?
No, I'm sure there is, but
Hmm.
I've never heard it personally, because the family doesn't know that. Like,
Right, 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 right.
I'm sure they don't give a shit.
Mm.
So,
Right. No,
you know.
right,
But I
absolutely.
mean, maybe they do, and maybe they would be thankful, or maybe they think it's all a bunch of BS, and they are resentful that we're trying to help people that harmed their family members.
Right.
that they think they should all burn. You know, who knows? Like that's like everyone's different.
Right. What's your perspective on that too? Because I mean, I struggle with it in many ways, but I like to kind of pick the brains of people who are kind of like, you know, especially you, if you're, because you're experienced, whether you're involved rather, with these guys. What's your perspective on someone that's done something heinous in that way? You know, obviously taking somebody else's life, somebody, you know, victimized the family by taking a life or whatever. What's your perspective on someone being released back into society after they've, you know, done their time or whatever? Like, if it were you, like what would be your perspective on this?
So it's that's a great question. It's very difficult because number one, 95% of the people who are currently in jail are going to be released at some point.
Right.
That's reality.
Right.
So we need to get better programming, better ways while they are in prison to deal with conflict, to tell them, to inform them of ways to do things. We need better programs so that they can educate themselves, so when they get out, they are not a burden to society and they don't reoffend. If they have opportunities and they have something to lose, they won't reoffend.
Mm-hmm.
That's everyone. Like, we're not gonna, if you have a bunch of stuff going on in your life that's great, that you love, are you gonna risk it by robbing someone?
Right. Yeah,
Are you gonna risk it by like not like it? That's the basic question that we just don't get to.
Poverty is a big
Dude,
culprit.
that's it. That's it's such a driver, and
Yeah.
but it becomes about everything else because we, for some reason, want it to be this way. We
Yeah.
are the richest country in the history of the world, and we somehow can't figure out how to eradicate poverty when Elon Musk could do it himself tomorrow if he wanted to. You know,
Literally.
literally. And
Literally
so,
could.
and that would, if you eradicate poverty, everything besides the freaking lunatics that, you know, are literally wanting to do crazy crap to people, which
Yeah.
that is a very small population, but it does exist.
Mm-hmm.
But if you eliminate poverty, police could focus on that. They could figure it out. They could
Right.
actually focus on that stuff and prevent it and do something useful.
Because everybody else would be too busy and able and have way too much to lose in the first place.
100%. 100%.
No, I do agree. I do agree with that. If there was more, I mean, it does begin there. Poverty is definitely a huge culprit, if not the culprit.
Yeah.
Then you have all of this stupid onion layer.
Dude, gone, drugs. Like,
Mhm.
people are worried about their jobs. They're worried about medicine, like healthcare for their kids. They're worried about feeding their kids. They're worried about all this crap. Take that shit off the table. That should not exist in America. That's nuts that it does.
No, you're absolutely right. And literally across the globe,
Yeah,
you know,
start
never mind
here
America,
because we're the richest
across the
country in the
globe.
world.
Yes.
And when it works great here, extend it out. Rather than like taking
globally
over every country with our military bases and crap, give them, you know, like if we, you know, dealt with poverty in the Middle East, dealt with poverty like in these problem areas, a lot of the problems in the world would go away.
Yeah, 100%.
But we refuse to do it, and all we do is send them bombs and the middle finger. You know?
Yeah, quite very literally. Yeah,
Yep.
100%. Especially in the modern era that we live in, 100%. There should be no starving person across the entire globe. Not
it's
one.
a choice.
Not
It
one.
is an actual choice.
Mm-hmm.
We create this world of suffering because of our ape-like brains. We're all a bunch of apes running around, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and we just have these, like, we don't evolve our thinking in our minds, and the evolution of our minds is an evolution towards compassion. You know, I'm a big fan of Gandhi, and I'm a big fan of Leo Tolstoy. And a lot of, like, the reason I'm here speaking to you right now is because of a book I read by Leo Tolstoy called The Slavery of Our Times.
Mm-hmm.
And in there, he wrote exactly what we talked about earlier in our discussion here was, you know, slavery doesn't end, it just changes forms. And he said that in the early 1900s. and it's 100% true. And his writings, he wrote another book called The Kingdom of God is Within You, and that inspired Gandhi's movement. No one knows this. That inspired Gandhi's movement in South Africa, and his nonviolence movement in South Africa and India.
Mm.
And it's just like these words that people write, like you never know what people are going to do with it. And Gandhi did something profound, and then Gandhi inspired Martin Luther King to do what he did in this country. So just from that one book, those two crazy, wonderful movements happened.
What is do you follow the Gospels at all?
Yeah, I grew up Catholic. I'm
Okay.
confirmed Catholic.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean,
and Sermon on the Mount. And so the kingdom of God is within you.
Yep.
Is that book is a literal interpretation of the Sermon on the Mount.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And society fears the Sermon on the Mount because it would radically, if we truly believed in it, it would radically change the world. And I'm not like a Bible, like I don't go to church actively. I don't, I found what happened in the Catholic Church to be repugnant. I need to, kind of get over, because it personally affected one of my friends.
Yeah.
And, but it just.
You're talking about, well, not to give detail, but you're talking about the stuff that shouldn't be happening.
Correct. I'm talking about child endangerment. Put it that way. And it's, but forgiveness, you got to forgive. Even that, like, you have to forgive. Yeah. And so that's a journey that I'm currently on, but that doesn't mean my spiritual journey, ended with my dislike of the Catholic bureaucracy. That just means I went out and educated myself as to why. Like, because I would just go to CCD and go to, church every Sunday and be bored out of my mind and not care.
Right.
But then, like, that made me separate from the church, and then I kind of went on my own to kind of find my own spiritual journey, and it's wrapped up in those books that I talked about, and in other people's movements, other people's things. I believe in practical applications of things.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good way to look at things. I mean, yeah, for me in the far beginning, that's what deterred me away from the Catholic Church. I always thought it was just like I wasn't really into like the whole, like, they ohm a lot, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't very it wasn't very inviting type thing. I mean, but whatever. I mean, I'm not down on the Catholics, although not I don't want to go too far into the history, but the Catholics have a big bad rap on changing the idea of what Christ was and being Christ-like and all that stuff. So, but beyond that, there is, if you just focus on what Christ was saying, none of these other denominations matter. In fact, they don't matter because he didn't preach any of it.
No, there was no church. It was none of it. He didn't want any of that. And that's the thing. You go by what he actually said. Yeah. And educate yourself into that. Like I'm not saying like do one thing or do the other. I'm saying educate yourself and practice stuff and see if it has a good impact for you. If it does, great, keep it and do it. If not, throw it away and find something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you introduce any of these types of books and stuff and all the, like, when you're doing these? Because I imagine, like, you meet with these guys, right? You meet with some of these guys that are incarcerated for these crimes, right?
I haven't done it in years. I haven't done it, like I said, they tossed me.
When you did, is what I mean. Like,
what's that?
When you did,
I would, yeah. I printed out, so I would have. This was my subterfuge. I printed out the books because they're all public domain. These books that I'm talking about are all public domain. I would print them out on paper, and I would let the guys take them piecemeal, and they'd all share out the printed book that I, printed out on large legal paper that I took in, like, that looked like notes or whatever, so that the prison guards wouldn't confiscate it from me. I mean, it's just a book. It's just a book, and I would take them in, I'd give it to them.
Okay, cool. What are like some of the bigger, like, are you working on any cases that have caught your radar that needs to be brought to light? I mean, I know all of them do, but is there anything in particular that you've been trying to help either someone who's probably wrongly incarcerated, because from the stuff that we were talking about earlier about the whole drug stuff, are there any cases that need to be known that people don't know about?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm
Mm.
relaunching my podcast this year.
Okay.
We're going to catch everyone up as to what is the latest with the Annie Dukin case, but we haven't even gotten into. There was another chemist who was stealing drugs from from the University of Massachusetts lab. They do drug testing on the UMass campus, or they used to, which is insane. And a woman that worked in that lab was stealing drugs and using them, smoking and cooking crack in the lab.
Wow.
While Annie Dukin was doing the other thing. And she was this case is totally insane. So I have a book too called Rigged. It's on Amazon. If you look up Rigged Annie Dukin, you'll find my book. That has these cases in it. But to answer your question, so there's that case, there's the Annie Dukin case. Those two cases are still active and ongoing. Subscribe to my podcast and download it. Catch up if you haven't listened to it before, and then we are going to relaunch within the next couple weeks. Catch everyone up on the current cases where you can make yourself a pest and advocate to dismiss as many cases as possible, because that is what's on the table right now. They are looking to dismiss all of these cases. So you can do that, and then outside of that, this season we're delving outside of those two cases. My first two seasons was specifically focused on those. Now we're going to San Francisco, where there's another freaking crazy thing that happened that's almost identical to what happened here. Crazy. Like this, my hypothesis is that this is happening everywhere in the entire country, that this something similar to what happened here in Massachusetts has happened in every single state. And I'm going to that's what I'm dedicating my podcast to. I'm going to continue on looking at every single state in the country to uncover these cases. I've already found multiple ones in California. We're starting with the most liberal states in the country. This is happening in the most liberal states. That should really be eye-opening to people, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be. I mean, these things, there's so many cases that are like that. There's so many falsified cases that have people locked in for 20, 50, 60 years.
Yep.
And then they finally get released to be found, not guilty. And I mean, you basically killed the person. I mean, you took their entire life away.
You took their life away for nothing.
You took their entire life away. Who's that boxer? There was a movie about him. Denzel Washington played him. Hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't he? There was a famous case.
Yes, it was a murder. It's a Bob Dylan song, right?
Yeah. Yep. It was a wrongful conviction. I mean, that's one of many.
That's
one of many.
It's just one example. There's the problem is we're too hardcore with the criminal justice system. We are asking too much of our police. The swath is too big for them to handle. They need to focus on what's really important, which is preventing murder, preventing mass shootings, preventing child trafficking. Those are things that are important for police to do, not running after drug dealers. You'll never stop it. So you might as well. I mean, my thought is to make all drugs legal and tax the crap out of them, and then fund rehab with all of that tax money, so you choke out the desire to do it, and also give people opportunity with that money so people can have normal jobs, and that's how you strangle it out.
Yeah, there's a couple countries that do it. I think Portugal's one of them.
It's already working. Our government fears it, because you know what? Like, we haven't even gotten into the ramifications of what this really is. The CIA used drug money, and they flooded the streets in the 80s and 90s with crack cocaine. This is actually proven.
They've been caught for it. It's proven.
And the Nicaragua crap, funding those, that was all crack money.
There was a movie that Tom Cruise had played. He was he wasn't the guy that he played. I forgot his name. I don't think he was CIA. He might have been.
No,
he wasn't CIA. Wasn't it? Didn't it have something to do with the Clintons? I think.
Yes.
Right. Yeah,
dude.
And he was fucking shipping cocaine.
Yes.
I mean,
There's
I
a
want to get. I want to get
what's
the.
the name of the
Yeah, I'm gonna get the right title. Hold on a second here.
yeah, and there's another book too by a guy called Gary Webb. Oh, Dark Alliance. He a journalist from San Jose.
Yep.
Random small newspaper was running stories about this, and he got murdered. They said it was suicide, and he blew his head off with a shotgun or something. But like he,
Oh, and then he got shot. Also, oh
yes,
no, he got hung or something like that,
yes.
and shot. I'm like, yeah, all right. What did he do? He hung himself and then shot himself. That Tom Cruise movie is called American Made. It's based on a true story,
Yep.
and he's helping Pablo Escobar at the time. It was a 2017 film. Looks like I'm trying to see. Most says cooking doesn't say the guy that he played. Let's see if I click on this real quick. Sorry. Yeah. So it was a. I'm trying to see the name, the character that he played. Tom Cruise. Yeah. Well, anyway, people just look it up. It's called American Made. It's actually a really good film too.
It is. It's well made.
I mean, it's Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is pretty top tier.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's based off of like real drug smuggling. Yeah, he was working with Pablo Escobar, but I mean, if you look into the Pablo Escobar story, the
Oh yeah.
CIA was like loaded all over the place with that.
Come on.
So you know what I
It's
mean?
so obvious what's going on. They
Of
want
course.
the drug war to fund their illegal shit that they don't want Congress to see.
Multi-billion-dollar industry. That
Dude.
along the side of child trafficking as well, sex trafficking, child trafficking, all that. It's $1 billion industry, and
It's terrifying. It's
Yeah,
terrifying.
it is terrifying.
And we need to put a stop to it because it is immoral.
It's 100% immoral. There's so many demonic things that are happening right under our feet, quite literally. In some cases, there's like tunneling. Going
Jeffrey
on.
Epstein was, I mean, he's hanging out with Woody Allen and
Barely the tip of the spear, but it definitely,
yeah,
it definitely loads. It definitely opens up the not even just the idea, but the fact of the matter that there's politicians, there's people in the music industry, people in the movie industry, science industry, everywhere. These parasites are loaded.
yeah.
We're infested.
Weinstein,
If America was a house of roaches, we're infested with parasites.
We are.
Okay? We're infested.
And money is what's behind it all. Money and power, right? Like leverage, like get people wanting things, and then like you having what they want, and people making them freaking crawl through the mud and do whatever they want to get it. And that's that's the bottom line. That's what motivates a lot of this.
Well, that's I mean that's a big argument right now on the fact of Trump not having pushback on the whole Epstein files thing. Whether you believe that or not, I kind of don't. I think he's a little bit complicit. I don't know. He had a friendship with him, but again, you got to follow the money, ladies and gentlemen. But if Trump aside, I do think that somebody is using those files in order to, like you said,
of course,
to fuel a specific agenda.
Of course.
I think Israel's involved. I think Russia's involved. I think
100%.
China's involved, and I 100% know and see that America's involved. And Epstein, by the way, it's literally barely the tip of the spear. There's there's other lists. There's other islands.
Like, the sexual blackmail. Dates back to like the 30s, and the FBI was huge into it, and it was happening to the J. Edgar Hoover himself. The mob had pictures of him blowing his assistant, and used that as leverage against him for years. That's why
wasn't he
so
like
soft on the
cross-dressing
mob.
and stuff like that too, or something along those lines? I think like there's pictures of him in heels or something like that.
Oh yeah. They had the dirt on him. That's why he was so soft on the mob. I mean, that's a documented fact. You can just look it up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. A lot of people don't know that, and people push back on it that it's fake. It's not fake. Go look it up.
No, it's legit.
It's definitely legit.
And
that's pre AI.
Exactly, that's pre AI and's been around forever.
Yeah.
And it just like sexual blackmail. Jeffrey Epstein is just the latest to kind of embody that. But it's been going on for years and years and years and years in this country and all over the world. Like people look for leverage and they prey on human weakness. They set it up and then they exploit it.
Yep.
And that's exactly what Epstein did. And you said Israel, and I think he was an Israeli agent.
Yeah, I do think so. I think he was a double agent. I think he was CIA Mossad for sure.
Yep.
Yep.
And
He had a lot of ties.
correct.
So
And to Bill Clinton and to Donald
oh
Trump,
yeah. Yep.
both of them.
Yep. He
So
had Bill
it's not one way
Clinton's
or the other.
I think he had either a painting or some type of picture of Bill Clinton in his house in New York, I believe. It was New York or the island, one or the other. And Bill Clinton is dressed in this like almost like a 1920s or 18 something type of dress, I think. If I'm going off of memory right now. Y'all can go look it up. It's not AI. I don't think it's AI.
Did you hear about all the eyeballs he had in his house?
Yeah, that was weird. That was very weird. That's very
In
creepy.
a map of Israel and
In a map of Israel, yep. He had something to do. He had some weird things in his home.
he did. I
He
mean,
had
we
some
could do a
weird
whole
things.
episode on that. And that's, I mean, part of what we're going to be doing this year is we're going to be having a Patreon as well to help
Nice.
fund what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these FOIA requests, I've personally spent thousands of dollars on the information that I shared earlier with you. It cost me thousands of dollars, took years to get. All that info on the drug labs. It's very expensive to submit these FOIAs.
By
but
the way, that
also-
should be illegal to charge.
dude, you
That should
see
be
what they do in
illegal.
Massachusetts. Oh my god. And it's all because of disorganization. Like I said, I worked in biotech. I install systems in biotech. Like I could install an electronic documentation system for the state that could find all the files they want in 20 seconds. And you would charge like, and they could edit it. You could use AI. Speaking of AI, you could use AI to redact it all for free.
Yep.
All you have to do is pay the initial cost to set it up and maintain it. And it would be so much cheaper, but that's not the point. They want to keep this stuff hidden. They want to charge you thousands of dollars. They don't want to
So they can deter you away from getting the information.
Of course, I was persistent.
Every average American, I don't even mean I mean average very lightly. The American should be able to go and make a FOIA request. You should not be charged by the state or the federal government on what FOIA request that you're making.
No,
because your tax dollars pay for that. So
exactly, we're paying for people to look this stuff up for us.
Exactly.
But instead, they put punitive charges against it because people, 9 out of 10 people aren't going to be psychos like me, and continue to pay thousands of dollars for information that should be ours for free.
Yeah, I think everyone should make a FOIA request a couple times a year on whatever, and just do it. Just load the system up. Just load them up with work,
and don't give up on it.
Don't give up
give
either.
It to you. Do everything to fight the charges. Constantly, just make their lives until they give up and just give us the truth.
Yep.
That's a great point that you just made, and that's something I'm going to be asking for my audience outside of just the Patreon stuff. I'm going to be asking my audience to actively help me because I can't do 50 states by myself. I want them to whatever state they're in. It shows you what kind of downloads you get and where you get them from generally. And I get stuff from all over the world. That's the great part about podcasting. You put stuff out and you get people listening all over the world. And, from whatever state people are in, go look up, you just Google, wrongful conviction or, phony evidence from drug lab in your state. And you will find shit. I did it. All I did was a simple Google and I found 20 things already. It's crazy.
Yeah, we need active detectives out there.
We do.
You know what I'm saying? I think people in general, in my opinion, if we want to be on the right side of history, on the right side of truth, who cares of what the situation is if the evidence isn't matching up, that person needs to be, the truth of that person needs to be correct with the evidence that's being held against them.
Correct.
And if the evidence isn't there being held against them, then that person needs to be free from whatever that charge or whatever the apprehension is. The person should be a complete piece of shit, just whatever.
But the evidence is what it is. I mean,
that's not grounds enough to throw somebody in prison for the rest of their life over something because they're just a so-called piece of shit. I mean, there's assholes everywhere.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying? So that's
But
not grounds on throwing somebody, under the jail.
you
It's
know
not.
how
It's not.
our society was founded? One of our founding fathers, John Adams, defended one of the British soldiers who
Mm.
shot people at the Boston Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
Like that that's how we feel about justice.
Yeah.
That is how we feel about justice. And he did that on purpose to set the precedent, right? Because they knew what they
Mm-hmm.
were doing. We can't have our government railroading us into these things. And
Correct.
we, the people, need to stand up and to take it back by, like what you're saying, like turning off your freaking Facebook, turning off the news, and start dedicating your life to doing something important. Even if it's just one case, even if it's just one conviction that you get overturned, that your efforts help to resolve or like find the real person who was actually doing
Mm.
it.
Yep.
Like there's a million things out there that people can be doing right now. Like it's important for us to not feel helpless and to take the power and to start using it.
Yeah, 100%. Even if that's going to get people who are in positions of so-called authority, like officials, even if it's going to get a cop arrested. I mean, listen, we have to hold all of each other accountable.
Right.
Just as well, police have to hold themselves accountable. Judges have to hold themselves accountable. Presidents have to hold themselves accountable.
Oh
If
yeah.
the information adds up to the fact like you're doing something heinous, you have to answer to this, and you
Correct.
should, because it's justice, because it's required. Then, because look at it this way, everybody. If you were any of these people, so-called alphabet agencies or so-called, multi-billion-dollar technology corporation or real estate organization, and you did some type of money laundering or whatever, you'd go to jail for it. You would literally go to jail for it. If it was just you, common guy, woman, doing that, you would go to jail for it. But because that they have some type of money backing to them, and they have,
Leverage, connection.
leverage or whatever in connections, they feel that they are themselves above that, above the law. And so, they don't care about some guy in the street corner getting caught up with cashew nuts in his freaking pocket and then getting falsely tested for drugs and then thrown away for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's disgusting, man.
Well, dude, that's Deval Patrick.
That's just gross.
You don't think Deval Patrick knows about this? And Mara Healy?
He has to know about that.
Dude, he did. He
has to know
100%
about
does. He was behind the cover up. He was part of the cover up.
Oh, he was a part of it.
He was 100% a part of it. I'm telling you, listen to my podcast.
I'm actually not surprised.
We have
for
evidence. We know it went at least to his office and his people. So I'm sure they would fall on the sword for him and say they never told him. But the thing of it is, you can't even FOIA the governor's office. You can't FOIA the legislature in Massachusetts. You can't FOIA those industries. And then if you try to FOIA the attorney general's office where Mara Haley was working, they freaking lie and they stonewall you and they won't release anything. The only reason I know any of this is because the Department of Public Health had some dedicated people who gave me the information that they were obliged to give me because due to the law. There are good actors and there are bad actors. That's the thing about like government conspiracies. It boils down to people who do their job and take it seriously, of which there are many that work in government, and people that don't, and of which there are some, and they are generally people with a lot to lose, so it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you just have to keep pushing and find the people that are willing to help.
Yeah. I just got reminded. I had a guest on here about a week or two ago, Becca Ray. She herself is going through a case. I don't know if you're familiar with CPS or anything like that, but she's going through a case like that, which is her case is. I can't understand why they would be denying her any access to the own information that she needs, and also any information that needs to be processed. Like, they're not protecting her at all, and they're not doing anything for her to get her case heard. I actually, maybe off air, I'll probably send you information. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can got some advice for at some point. But
I'm happy to help.
and I'll send that podcast link to you too, so maybe you can listen to it to get more of a better idea, because I'm kind of paraphrasing a good portion of it right now. But
yeah, for
yeah,
sure. I'll send it.
the
I
justice
got a
system is not
6-hour
the
drive
justice
ahead of
system.
me.
Mm.
I'll listen to it then.
Okay, I'll send that to you. Before we go, anything else that should be mentioned, should be known? Any links, and anything that we should be talking about, or people should be
I'm
paying
all
attention to,
over.
rather?
I don't use social media a ton, and that is my downfall. But
Mm.
I do have. If you go to @Rigged Labs, you'll find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You'll find me if you @Rigged Labs, Jamie Folk. You will find
Rigged
all of my stuff
Labs.
all over socials. We are, like I said, we're relaunching the pod within the next couple of weeks to focus on California and to also get people caught up on what the active cases are for the Massachusetts drug lab stuff. And we'll tell you what judges that you can bother and what
Mm.
judges you can go to that are currently hearing these trials. And also, so the Middlesex County DAs, go to them and tell them, just call them up, call up Middlesex County DAs and say, hey, I'm calling as a concerned citizen. I know Annie Dukin was rigging evidence to help you guys win cases, and we think that's wrong, and we want those cases thrown out.
Mm.
And you do that to Suffolk County, Middlesex County, Norfolk County, whatever county you're in. Call up the DA's office and tell them that.
All
And
right.
make your voice heard in that way. And then we'll get you the judges' names to do the same to that judge to make sure that they are not overlooking the fact that Annie Dukin was never someone who was unbiased. That she was doing what she was doing to convict people, as was everyone else in that lab.
Mm.
I mean, we have evidence. Like I said, we have evidence of the inspector general's office lying, dude. Like this case is insane, and it is buried because they don't want to say that the whole system is a fraud, and it is. It's a rigged
And there's
system.
and I'm sure these people that have been wrongly convicted they have lawsuits for them. They could definitely sue the state.
They can't. Like the
They
Cassidy
can't.
guy, he got a civil victory over Annie Dukin and not the state. The state knows it. If the state allows someone to sue them for this, the floodgates will open and it will completely
That's
bankrupt.
what I mean. Yeah, right. Exactly. They're afraid of that.
But dude, guess what? Karma's a bitch,
Mm-hmm.
and it takes the long
It's a long game.
ring of justice, or whatever MLK said. It's long, but it does bend towards justice. I believe that it will happen, but it's going to take an active electorate to make it happen, active people to push and push and push. So I'm asking for support. I'm asking to download and subscribe and rate us on Apple or wherever you get your podcasts. It's Rigged, the Massachusetts drug lab. It's going to soon change to Rigged Labs because it's not just Massachusetts drug lab. We're expanding out, but for now,
what's the podcast is what?
It's called Rigged, the
Yep.
Massachusetts drug lab scandal. That's what it's called. Rigged: the Massachusetts drug lab scandal. But it's soon going to be Rigged Labs, or that's it, or Rigged the podcast. We're rebranding.
Okay.
But for now, you can find us at Rigged, the Massachusetts drug lab, and you can also find my book on Amazon. It's Rigged, and if you just type in Rigged Annie Dukin, you'll find it.
Rigged Annie Dukin.
Annie Dukin. Yep.
Duken.
Dookhan. Dukan.
You said I'm sorry, Dookhan?
I believe so, yep.
Okay, got it. On Amazon.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Jamie, I appreciate you, brother. I like that we've stayed in contact. I'm gonna have you back on because I want to do a longer show and go specifically over some cases too. And I'm gonna actually dive into your podcast and catch up on a lot of other information too. And yeah, I appreciate you for coming on, brother, and spending a little bit of time with me and going over this. The prison industrial complex has been one of a big topic that I wanted to talk about, and I'm someone that talks about a lot of political stuff, a lot of biblical stuff, a lot of history stuff, and one of the big things that we face in this world is corrupt judiciary systems,
Oh, yeah.
especially in probably one of the best countries in the world, but for some right now, not quite. And
No.
that needs to change, and they
Agreed.
need to be heard. And we
Thank you
need to
so
speak
much
up
for
for them.
having me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and one last thing.
Yeah,
If you
sure.
want to really, if you're into this stuff, it sounds like we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, the book,
Oh,
is
yeah.
the best historical book I've ever read.
Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Yeah.
Rise and Fall of the Third Reich by William S. Shirer. And it's because William S. Shirer was a journalist that lived in Berlin while the Third Reich was being built up.
Mm-hmm.
And he covered it, and he got unprecedented access to all the Third Reich's internal government papers, because when the Nazis didn't think they were going to lose, and it all ended so fast, they didn't have a chance to destroy their archives. They went in and got everything. So this is the true actual story, according to the Nazis, of what went down. But like it's their historical records, so they wouldn't lie in it, and it makes them look really, really freaking bad.
Yeah.
Obviously. But it is a wonderful history, and it just obliterates a lot of the kind of lies that we are taught about, like what happened in World War II, why it happened, how easily it could have been prevented. All of these things, because we live in the fantasy world that D-Day happened and that's how we destroyed Nazis, and it's like that's
It
not
goes
what
much
happened.
deeper
Like,
than that. Yeah.
D-Day was a minor event. I mean, it was a big event, but in terms of what happened in how the Third Reich came down, it was not as big as we give it credit for. That's just one small story of like a billion different lies that we've been taught about what went down with the Nazis. And so, like, since that was such a integral part of our lives, still what happened in World War II, it's important to know what actually happened.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to look at the real history, not the stuff that they taught us in high school and
Exactly.
all that stuff.
And I'll have you on my pod, and we'll go through, like, we're doing rigged history, and we're starting with that's going to be behind the Patreon wall, and we're starting with this crazy guy that kind of predates the CIA, and he's like the godfather of the drug war.
Yeah.
Really interesting stuff. And it's like, what was that, the crazy CIA thing where they're, using LSD to control people's minds?
MK Ultra.
Yeah, MK Ultra, stuff like that. Like, this guy is the godfather of it. A lot of the fucked up stuff that we see and are dealing with now, he kind of
It's a
set that
byproduct. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
I'd be down for that. Let me know, man. I'd totally be down for that, brother.
That sounds great. Thank you for
man.
having
Jamie,
me.
I appreciate you, brother. I love you. God bless. Thank you,
bless.
everybody else that's tuned into The True Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. Thank you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe on all the platforms: Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, X. What else I got there? Yeah, that's it. Thank y'all. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe. Like I said, The True Perspective, the TRU Perspective on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and Rumble. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate you, brother. Love you. Thank you.
Love you too. Thank you.
We'll keep in touch, brother.
That's a great Yoda shirt, by the way. Love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. All right, man. Bye-bye. Yes, sir. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
This is a struggle for the survival.
Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
And this will be our last chance to say it.
I'm trying to free your mind. It is this feeling that has brought you to me.
At last.
No judge in U.S. history has ever told somebody what they can and can't say.
The whole purpose of the First Amendment is to keep the government the hell out of the business of speech.
Many of us have been brought to the brink. A lot of us here have called
I can only show you the door.
to awaken others.
You're the one that has to walk through it.
Spreading a message.
Something's happening, right?
The world is changing every day.
Civilization is weird.
Time is coming.
That
The train can't be stopped. The message is already here.